Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch Show, cops assaulted in New York City, nothing being done about it. No shock there. State of the Union is tonight. Trump's going to have to make a huge delivery, one that could win elections. Let's see if he can do it. Plus, also, more stuff on Muslims taking over in ways that are just going to shock you. Or maybe won't. Get ready. We have a good show today, and it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. I'm going to ask you please to hit the share button. Hit the share if you care. If you don't hit the share button, nobody knows about us. And the issue is obviously Facebook and other social media companies. If you're not hitting the share button, well, that algorithm doesn't like what I have to say. They're not going to like what I have to say today, let me tell you that. Also, I want to ask you right off the bat, if you don't mind, please consider to support what we're doing over here. It's very easy to do other than hitting the share button. You just go to TeamDML.com, and for as little as $20 for an entire year, you get all of the content we create, both in video and in written word and in newsletters. It is so well worth it. Plus, you have a 24/7 live chat with other members. Sometimes you get a handful of people in there. Sometimes you get hundreds of people in there. We have thousands of members. So please go to teamdml.com. It's the one way that you can ensure that we keep going. We're going to start off with a video here. And we're going to ask a question. Is there any respect for authority anymore? That's the question we address in the DML report. I ask you to pay attention very closely to this video, not only of the police officers getting smashed in the head with snowballs coming from every direction, but try to take a look at the faces of the people who are doing it and the ages. You'll be surprised. These aren't little kids. These are adults. Play.
You good? You okay? Let's do it.
So let's start off with a few facts that you need to know. First of all, there are about 35,000 police officers in New York City. Mamdani, the slumdog he is, Slumdog Mamdani, has already said that he wants to cut $22 million from the NYPD. This should come as no shock when you look at Mamdani's words about police officers in New York City, calling them racists. That's right, his words, not mine. So he's got 35,000 police officers, and Mayor Adams before him wanted to bump that up to 40,000, but with the cuts, definitely, there will not be more police, even though under Mamdani, there will be more crime. We've already seen in the short period of time that he's been in office, not only does he leave the city looking like trash, literally, but crimes, serious crimes in the subway and the transit system alone is up by a minimum of 17%. And I say minimum because we don't know how much it's gone up since that report was issued almost 2 weeks ago. So you got to ask yourself a question when you're looking at these men being slammed with snowballs and having snowballs cracked onto the back of their head. Why aren't these cops doing more? Why aren't they retaliating? Are they afraid that they would get beaten by this mob of degenerates? Now, why were they called to that? It was a park where that took place. Why were the cops called to that park? Well, they were called because there was disorderly conduct going on and there were complaints made. So they go and they see the disorderly people, the ones who are throwing the snowballs at innocent folks and creating havoc, and they tried to stop it. And what happens? There's no respect for the law enforcement. How are you supposed to have the respect of the city when your mayor is calling you racist and when the mayor is saying that you should be defunded and wants to cut the funding to your department? How are you supposed to operate? How are you supposed to not only defend other people, but how are you supposed to defend yourself? Because a rookie police officer in New York City makes a little under $60,000 a year. Now, you tell me, do you think the stress, do you think the violence that you have to endure, do you think the name calling and the mistreatment that you are subjected to is worth $60,000? I mean, at best, if you stick around for 20 years, you may hit $130,000. You're going to get taxed to death. Is that much money really worth putting your life on the line for people who want to hurt you, for people who want to defund you, for people who say the most vile things about who you are and what you're doing? We have really, really come a long way from the days of when my family were police officers in New York City and throughout Long Island. But let's park that for a second. Let's talk about who it was in that video that were throwing the snowballs. Think about how ballsy you need to be and to take a full snowball and toss it full speed like a baseball at a police officer's face, at their head. Think about how ballsy you have got to be to take a block of snow, run up to an officer that doesn't see you coming, and slamming it on the back of his head so it goes all down into his neck. I mean, that's something, my buddies and I, we grew up in New York, had snow all the time, had snowball fights, and it was sort of like an unwritten law. You don't hit the other guy in the face, And if you're going to slam snow over somebody's head, you do so knowing that you're going to do it in a gentle way. You don't do it in a violent way. And again, I'm talking about doing this with my friends, with my brother, with my cousins. I would never, ever think about hitting a cop with a snowball. But then again, when I used to do things wrong at home for the first 12 years of my life, when my father was around, well, I used to pay a price. I'll tell you two stories. Number one, I was a very little boy, probably about 4 years old. And from what I recall, and I recall a lot of it, and my mother told the story again years later, but we had just recently moved into our Long Island home, a place called Hicksville, nice blue-collar neighborhood. And I was playing on the driveway. My father was, I don't know, whatever he was doing with the lawn. He used to love doing stuff outside. Sometimes just even watering down the driveway with the hose just to clean it off. And my mother was tending to my baby brother. And for whatever reason, I decided that I was going to walk off, and I walked next door to the neighbor's house next door. And the young girl who lived there, she was probably a teenager at the time, happened to be my babysitter. So it was friendly territory. We were very good friends with the people next door. And so I decided for some crazy reason that I was going to hide underneath the dining room table. And back in those days, now dining room tables, you expose the wood. Back in those days, you used to have like a drapery, that would go over the table. And so I was under the table and I was under the drapery, and I can hear the fuss. I could hear my mother. I could hear my father screaming outside my name. And this was going on for a while, and people were starting to cry. And then now the cops came, and I heard a cop in my neighbor's house asking for a description of what I was wearing. And I'm under the table, and at 4 years old, I recognize that they're talking about me. They're trying to find me. And I became so scared at the situation that I didn't move out from underneath the table. And finally, my neighbor, my babysitter, Laura, saw my feet, and she found me. And all was okay. All the neighbors were all outside, and I could visualize this. I'm 56. I'm talking about when I was 4 years old, maybe 5. And I can visualize this. I know how sunny of a day it was. I know who was out there. And my father got me, and he smacked my ass down the driveway, across the sidewalk, up our driveway, up into the house, into my bed. Smacked my ass. Guess what I never did again? I never did anything of that sort ever again. I learned my lesson a very hard way. Then years later, when I was in high school, this is just before my father had left, taken off, first year in high school, maybe the second year. And we were at a party, and I had some friends who were troublemakers, and I kind of followed the crowd. And this girl had this big party, and everybody that was there had no respect for the house. And everybody stole something. Everybody took something from the house. Now, I didn't really want to do it, but I felt like I had to be part of the crowd. And I took a stupid little $2 plastic calculator just so this way I could say I took something. Well, we all got caught. And I was named as one of the people who stole something. And when my father got wind of this is just before he left, when he got wind of it, and the girl's father was a judge, so he wanted all the parents and the kids to come to his house, bring the stuff back, and be scolded. And my father said, I'm not having anybody scold me. I'll take care of my kid. My father literally whacked me in the ass with a belt, took my sweatshirt, and dragged me around the house to the point of where I had zipper marks on my neck. That was the last time in my life I ever stole anything. It was also the first time I had ever stole anything. And the punishment that I got from my father, I was punished in my room for 3 months. And maybe that's why I never stole another thing. Now, I tell you those two long, but I think interesting stories because you probably have something along the lines that's similar. You probably got your own tale of getting your ass whooped by your mother or your father or some kind of relative because you acted out. Well, when you look at all the people that were there throwing snowballs at the police officers, every single last face in that crowd is that of a minority. And so you have to ask yourself, does their father, does their mother even give a rat's ass about them? Now, we're not talking about kids. These are not kids that are 15 years old. Those are adults. Those people in that crowd, I would say, range from the lowest, maybe 18, to some of those people look like they were 30 years old. Do they even know who their father is in many cases? Did they ever get punished? I say no, because if you are a young adult of that age and you are still of the mindset that you can hurt somebody, let alone a cop, you have no sets of principles, you have no sets of rules, and you have never paid a price for doing wrong. And therefore, doing wrong is a part of your DNA. There's no other way around it. And so we have a parenting issue. We have a fatherless home issue. And this is what you get. Now, if you take it a step further and say, okay, well, maybe there is a fatherless issue. Maybe there is a parenting issue, especially in the minority communities. What do we do about it when they're adults? Well, at the very minimum, there should be arrests. At the very minimum, the mayor should have already come out this morning. This video has already gone viral. It's from yesterday. As of the timing of this show right now, I am telling you, Ma'am Danny has not said a damn thing. It should be the number one thing he did. He should be standing up there and saying, we do not hit our police officers. You do not assault your police officer. And anybody who did, and we're going to find out who you are going to be charged with a felony because hitting a officer is a felony. And depending on the amount of crime incurred, was the officer hurt? Was he dismembered? I mean, obviously, the worse it goes, the worse the crime, the worse you pay. But in the case of hitting officers, assaulting them with intent, with snowballs, a couple of those officers had to go to the hospital because they got belted that much. One guy, you could see, he can't see out of his eye. Those people should be on the cover of every single newspaper, including the New York Times, with Mandani condemning them by name and putting them in a freaking jail cell. But that's not going to happen. That is just not going to happen. Because in the same way that those punks that you saw in that park have no respect at all whatsoever for authority, Mamdani has no respect at all for the authority. He has no respect for the cops. He's got no respect for the president of the United States. He's got no respect for the people who built that city. He is a complete 100% scumbag who is designed, who has been brought up and raised to change New York City into the slumdog Mamdani palace, filled with Muslims, as I have explained to you, 4 phases of the plan. Phase number 1, make life miserable for everybody. Phase number 2, make economic doom for the entire city. People leave, and then you import more Muslims, and before you know it, you have a Mecca. It's the easiest way to say it. It's the easiest way of saying it. That's the way it is going to be. Now, it's not just New York City like that. We see this happening across the country in many different blue cities, blue states. There is this new play on leniency, bought and paid for by George Soros in many cases, where DAs no longer put criminals in jail. The criminals are now the victims are now the criminals. We've allowed this country to go upside down and inside out, and it is only getting worse. Only getting worse. I go back to what I said in the beginning. I have an incredible amount of respect for police officers. My grandfather was a New York City police officer. My stepfather was a homicide detective on Long Island. My best friend, still to this day, was a sergeant in the NYPD, responsible for an entire baseball stadium's safety. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, my 2 uncles on my father's side. I mean, I can sit here and go down the list of police officers in my life. A good majority of my friends, one of my other best friends, Kevin, retired police officer. I can just name it to you. In fact, I took the cop test for a place in upstate New York, and I was accepted. I ultimately didn't take the job, but I thought about being a cop. In the days of my grandfather, in the days of my uncles, even in the days of my friends, had you seen that sort of thing taking place, which you wouldn't have. Back in those days, you would not have seen cops been hit with snowballs. You just would not. Now, let me put this on pause. One of my father's best friends, we called him Rico, last name Rainey. I believe he was shot. He made national news. I think he was shot 15 times, and he survived. You would have things like that happen periodically. Very rare. Once every few years. But the assault on cops today is happening everywhere. Now, notwithstanding what happened to Rico, if you just take what happened to those 2 cops yesterday, if that would have happened 20 years ago, if that would have happened 40 years ago, you would have seen a nightstick jammed into the flank of one of those snowball throwers, whacked to a knee of another one, thrown to the ground, elbow to the face, they would have paid a dear price before they even got arrested. And nobody would have said a thing. And that's one of the reasons why this sort of thing never happened. Because before you even got the cuffs on, before you stood in front of a judge, before you went to Rikers Island, you got your ass handed to you. That's the way it was. And just the idea that you knew that that was going to happen, that was enough for you to say, I want no part of it. But when you strip that out, when you don't allow the cops to use force when they need to use force, not only just defending innocent people, but themselves, because they got families too. They got a life too. They got rights too. When you strip that away from them, you got nothing. You don't have authority. You don't have law and order. A lot of people will tell you that the difference between us and the third world is money. They'll tell you the difference between us and the third world is leadership. It's not. And it's not our freedom either, because there are plenty of countries in the world that have freedom. What has always kept us above the fray, what made us greater than anybody else, was the fact that we did not have chaos. We are a country of laws. We're not a country of immigrants. I'm so tired of hearing that. We are a country of laws that invite immigrants in to follow those laws. But if you strip the immigrants out of America, America is great. Probably greater than it was prior to them coming here, because we don't get the same sort of immigrants that we used to get. You don't hear the stories about, my grandfather came here from Italy. My grandfather came here from Ireland. My grandmother came here from Germany. They only had 50 cents in their pocket. They came, they worked the docks 7 days a week. They saved up enough money. They opened up a little corner pizza parlor. And today, we got Vinny's Pizza and there's 9 locations. Those stories don't happen anymore. Now what you get is, I came over from Somalia. I came over from Ethiopia. I snuck in through the border, through Mexico or El Salvador. I worked under the books. I collected welfare. I fraudulently took money from the system. It's a totally different world. But if you take the immigrants, both legal and illegal, out of America, we are thriving better than we were before they got here. But if you take out the laws, we are nothing more than those countries from where they came. Only we've got bigger skyscrapers. That's really the difference, which means there is no difference. Slowly but surely, we are losing our country because law and order it matters no more. We are protecting the wrong things. We are valuing the wrong systems. We are looking the wrong direction when we see our future. Trump's going to have to address this. Now, Trump tonight during the State of the Union is going to start telling you about how ICE has done such a great job. ICE is treated no different than those New York City police officers. No different. We can't declare victory. There's no victory to be declared here. You can't declare victory in Minnesota if you're ICE and the President of the United States, and you cannot declare victory in New York City if you are the police. We're losing. What I would like to see, and I addressed this in my morning video, what I would like to see is every single cop in New York City today walk off the job, go on strike, protest. Are you kidding me? All the protests that happen in this country over garbage, you should stand with your brothers. You should send a clear message to City Hall, send a clear message to Slumdog Mamdani that you are not going to put your life on the line for this kind of stuff and not have your back covered by the mayor. It's the only way. If you stay in that job, if you do not come together and forcefully take a stand, and when I mean forcefully, you stand there and you say, nobody's going to hit me, nobody's going to assault me. If you do, you're going to pay a deep price. And we are not going to protect this city if you, Ma'am Danny, are not going to protect the people who are paid to protect it. You're sending me into a freaking gunfight with a butter knife. That's what they should do. There's no money. And I some people say, well, that's easy for you to say. Listen to me. I worked my fingers to the bone. At 30 years old, when 9/11 came, I didn't have anything. I almost lost everything. At that point, I had no job. I had no income coming in. I had 3 kids, expenses out the yin yang. And I looked and I said, I just watched people jump to their death. And I was stuck in a job I hated doing. I hated it. And I said, I don't care about the money. I'm leaving and I'm going to go do what I wanted to do. I wanted to make films. I'm going to go make films. And because I made that decision at the time, one of the most difficult decisions I ever made in my life, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be successful today. I wouldn't be at the level I'm at if I didn't take a chance, if I didn't believe in myself, and if I didn't stop lying to myself that I needed every single last dollar that was coming in or else I'd lose everything. I did a radical shift with 3 kids, a mortgage, 2 car payments, a wife with an American Express card, but at least she supported me. Best move I ever made. And then I did it again when I was at Newsmax, and they were forcing stuff for me to talk about on air and stripping things that I wanted to talk about. It was beautiful having my name on the show, Dennis Michael Lynch Unfiltered. I walked into Newsmax, you'd think it was Jesus. The world parted for me. I said, wait a second, I'm going to be censored? No. I love having my name on the lights. I love being the number one show. At the time, I don't know, I was probably making about $140,000. There's extra $140,000 to the business I had of making films. That was great money at the time. I said, forget it. I got too much pride. I'm going to keep my dignity. I urge anybody who has somebody in their family who is a police officer, either have them form together with other cops and take a stand, or have them move to another state where cops are appreciated, like Florida, or just, damn it, have them quit and do something else, because the stress, the risk is not worth it. It's not worth it. It frustrates me to no end. My last statement on this: I don't care who those people were in that crowd. Asian, Latino, black. I'm sure there were a couple of whites thrown in there somewhere. No doubt, liberal white women. If my buddies, when I was back in my early 20s, my teens, if my buddies, if we were there and we saw something like that happening, not only would we not join in on it, we would have started pummeling those pieces of shit. We would have, they would have been eating snow. In fact, some of my buddies who had literally no restraint at all when it came to this, they would have pissed in the snow, and then they would have taken one of those punks and stuck their head in the snow. We have pussified this country to a point of it is unrecognizable. Unrecognizable. You are never getting New York City back. It is never coming back. do not hold your breath, because these cops are not going to do that. Oh no, we're going to show you a video right now. Guys who are looking like they're in their retirement years doing freaking Allah prayers before they eat with Mamdani. Play.
Family to all our city agencies. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so there you go. Mamdani doing the prayers with the police department. Everybody's folding now to Islam. You should not be surprised by it at all. It's happening across the country. And as I told you yesterday, in 2028, the big, humongous topic will be AI and how to stop Islam from spreading. And if you don't think that it is a reality, even though I show it to you every day, you know, remember, it's not like I'm playing you the same clips. It's not like I'm telling you the same stories. This stuff that I'm giving you is new and fresh every single day. There's always something new to show you. And I show it to you because I want you to realize that the threat is real, the movement is real, and the more we ignore it, the greater it's becoming. Here is a video of a gentleman telling you that Islam will be in every home across America. Take a listen.
So know this, that Islam will enter every house. Every house. Don't worry about the Islamophobes. They can yap all they want. Their children will be Muslim. All those people of Taif, go to Taif today. Show me a kafir there. All Muslims. Read Tariq al-Thaqafi. Al-Thaqafi, this Qabila is from Taif. Great mujahideen, great ulama, they came from the children of those that used to throw those stones. So Islam will enter every house. What's the question? Are me and you going to be a part of it? Are we going to take that become that sabab, that means, so that Allah puts all of that in your hisab?
Well, I'll just tell that guy right there. If Islam enters my home, it's going to exit in a body bag. That's how it works. But the more important thing is understanding what it is that the plan is. And that's what their plan is. And I have told you this, and I'm going to keep on telling you this. Just like in 2010, I told you about the border. I told everybody who was listening to me, Fox News or otherwise, this is going to be the biggest problem we're going to face in the years to come. Ha, 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 you're a racist, you're a racist. That's what I was told. And what? Trump on 2016's election ran on the border because it has become the biggest issue. And now the legal immigration is the biggest issue. And I talk about it to you all the time. And yet it is still happening because our country does not get in front of problems. No, our country chases problems. That's what we do. We're like a bad lawyer. We chase the ambulances. Yep. Same thing with our healthcare system, right? Our healthcare system chases illness instead of trying to prevent it. And that is basically what it comes down to. Now, if you don't think that this is something that is becoming widespread, and if you don't think that these people, these Islamic people, are serious about what it is they're doing and how passionate they are about their ideology, some people call it a religion, I take you now to Minnesota, where there is a snowstorm and there's traffic on a major highway. But that doesn't stop this man from praying. Take a look.
This dude just pulled over in this blizzard on 94 East to get out and pray. I've seen it all. It's stop and go. There's cars in the ditch. It's 5 o'clock and he's praying on the side of 94.
Yeah, so this is going to need to be addressed. It's going to have to be addressed in a big way. And Trump's got himself a heck of a night tonight with the State of the Union. He's going to have to show a little bit of humble pie. Now, you know, and I know that won't happen. Instead, what will happen is Trump's going to tell you about how he's accomplished more in 1 year than any other president in history. Well, I can tell you that, Trump is not alone in his effort. He has a whole team called the GOP. And there was a post that actually wound up going viral. I did it yesterday as well. I shared it on X. I want to give you the exact numbers of it. It actually shows pathetically how weak the GOP has been, despite the fact that we have all the chambers. It's right here at the top. Trump's first year in office has seen the lowest amount of bills passed in modern American history. Bush had 109 in his first year. Obama, 125. Biden, 122. And Trump, 38. 38. John Thune should be removed as the leader of the Senate. The GOP is getting nothing done. They are not supporting this president. Now he's got to fight against the courts with the tariffs. I feel for Trump. He causes some of his own pain, but I really hope that the president, after tonight's State of the Union, he's not going to get the pop that he hopes for or that he believes he deserves. Usually after a State of the Union address, there's a little bit of pop for the president. I don't think this is going to be one of those cases. I think that the majority of American people are looking around, they're seeing the country, they're seeing various things, and what Trump is looking at as being favorable and promising, other people are not. I'll give you an example of some things that I hope that he addresses, and one of the ways I think he addresses it is by he has to get rid of some people. He's got some people in his administration that are not doing a good job and are probably holding him back and advising him poorly on various different matters. First of all, I bring back what I had said about ICE in Minnesota. It was a horrible, hideous decision to remove ICE from Minnesota. The optics looked bad. It looked like we were defeated. The job wasn't done. We removed 4,000 people, but meanwhile, there's 100,000 illegals. The fraud going wild in Minnesota, nothing was done about that. We hear about these investigations that are going on with Ilhan Omar and Mayor Frey and Governor Walz. I hope Trump addresses this tonight. I hope he says the status of those investigations, because as of right now, all they were titles, a headline on social media. We don't see anything changing. People need to see that there's changes happening if they can't actually see and feel it for themselves. And that's what Trump's up against. Trump is going to try to present tonight what many will say is a ghost. He's going to say the economy is much better, and people are going to say, I'm still struggling with my bills. What are you seeing that I'm not seeing? Trump is going to tell you the tariffs have worked great, and people are going to say, I don't understand how they worked great. My costs are higher than they were. Where's the proof in the pudding? Trump's going to say the courts have screwed us up. We are going to put tariffs on. We're going to keep those tariffs on, and they are going to work. And people are going to say, well, you've swapped them 50 times over. The argument against you is that you're using it as a political weapon instead of an economic tool. Trump is going to have a very big sell tonight. I hope he has a way of selling it in a way that says, I just need a little bit more time. You're going to see what it is we're seeing. You're going to feel what it is we're feeling. ICE. He's going to say about how ICE has done this unbelievably great job and everything is so much for the better. And people are going to say, wait, I still got an abundance of legal aliens outside. Wait, I got prayer 5 times a day in the middle of the street to Allah. Wait, the daycare centers in Minnesota are still all open. And we've got fraudulent stuff going on in California and Maine and everywhere, Texas. Where is it getting better? All I keep on seeing is people who I can't understand. I can't pronounce their names. And they just seem to be like totally anti-America. I don't get it. And then Trump will tell a story here. He'll tell a story there. He'll have people stand up. And yesterday he had a cop. He had a cop who said he actually arrested the illegal who killed Laken Riley. He had him up, said the whole 2 yards. Here you go. Play the video.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today, and it's an honor to be speaking with you guys. My name is Ethan Carreri. I'm a police officer in Palm Beach County, Florida, and a former New York City police officer. While serving the New York City Police Department, I personally arrested Jose Ibarra for endangering the welfare of a child. A few months later, I saw his face again in the news after he viciously murdered Laken Riley. I did my job. I put him in custody. The system failed. No detainer, no accountability, no deportation, and an innocent American life was taken. If you enter our country illegally, there will be consequences under this administration. The American citizens must always come first. To Laken Riley's family, your loss should have never happened. We owe it to you and every American family to enforce our laws, secure our border, and protect innocent lives. Mr. President, thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for all you've done for our country. Thank you.
So Trump is going to have to come through with a great speech tonight. I don't know whether or not he's going to be able to deliver that, because I just don't know whether or not the accomplishments that he has made are enough to get people excited. Yes, the border is definitely better than it was. No doubt, can't take that away from him. But, capturing Maduro, how has that impacted anybody to the positive? I get it. A good accomplishment. Well done. Iran, you bombed the hell out of Iran. We were told that all the nuclear facilities were gone. And now we're hearing that Iran is a week away from having another bomb. What's going on? What do we believe? What don't we believe? Did we really bomb the hell out of them like we did? Or is that AI? Or did we bomb the hell out of them, and yet Israel's asking us to do it a little bit more, so we're going to say, hey, they're a week away from a bomb. Ukraine and Russia, still a problem. There are too many things that are going in the wrong direction, AI being one of them. Stock market yesterday almost went to total epic crash because the reality of people losing jobs is starting to become more prominent than this bank or this tech company has record profits. Yeah, why not? Because when you got technology doing all the work that human beings used to do, you're cutting back on costs, you're improving on efficiency, but people don't have jobs. You don't have to have a PhD in economics to understand this is going in the wrong direction. So Trump has himself quite a job tonight. Quite a job tonight. No matter what he does, he's not going to convince the left that he's doing a good job. The left thinks he's just a nightmare. They're going to do everything they possibly can to slow this president down so they could impeach him. And if they win the Senate, maybe remove him. I think we're in for some rocky roads. I'm always going to be honest with you about those rocky roads. And I'm not going to hold anything back. I want to see Trump succeed, because if Trump succeeds, America succeeds. If Trump fails, we all fail. But this is no longer a dog and pony show. We've got a lot of bad things taking place, and I think what I just showed you in New York City, although a pimple on the elephant's ass, is representative of what it is we're seeing in America. And I want to remind you one more time, we are a nation of rules and laws. That's what separates us from the third world. And the more we take in the third world, the more it seems like our laws are being diluted. Speaking of laws, Virginia had a great governor. His time was up. They put in a leftist, and now you're getting leftist laws. Take a listen to today's Crazy Left.
Hey, good morning, friends. I just wanted to hop on and let you know about a bill that passed yesterday on the House floor, House Bill 1525, which is intended to disallow anybody under the age of 21 to purchase, transfer, or possess a firearm. And I won't go into all the details, but it says no one under 21 can do this unless you're with an accompanying adult and you're hunting or you're going to a shooting range. Well, friends, go to the Code of Virginia and see what the definition of an adult is. It's somebody who's 18. This is the absurdity. This is the perfect example of the absurdity in Richmond and the attack on our Second Amendment rights. This one is just an informational message. Just wanted to let you know.
All right, that's it for me. I appreciate it. Please think about going to TeamDML, teamdml.com, and give us your support. $20 membership for a year allows us to keep going. We don't have members, we can't keep going. So teamdml.com for $20, you do your part in keeping the word out there. Tomorrow, I will not be with you. Tomorrow I have a travel day, but I will do a Facebook Live to give you my thoughts on the State of the Union. God willing, I will be back with you here on the show on Thursday. Until then, stay well. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the President and his State of the Union. Talk to you soon.
Get the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day by subscribing on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and download the DML News app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store for breaking news, merchandise, films,